Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So for today's video, we are going to be talking about the Brooklyn Nets, but I will say we are going to be nice to them as a team, man. And to show you a sign of good faith, I actually have some Kyries that I'm going to put right here for the video. Let me grab them real quick. Just gotta get my broomstick out of the way real quick. But I was doing a little sweep and, a little cleaning down here. So let me just get that out of the way. And here we go, man. We got some Kyries. I do mow my lawn in these. But, I don't know, good ankle support, I guess. You don't want to break an ankle while mowing the lawn, so it is what it is. But we're going to set that right here, man. Right next to Damian Lillard, which, by the way, if you all want to get Damian Lillard some teammates, when this channel hits 280K subscribers, I am going to be adding a member to the team here, man. So he's going to go right here. Actually, I guess. There we go. There we go, man. Right there. Perfect. Okay, so Boston Celtics. No, wait. Brooklyn Nets defeated by the Boston Celtics. Grab a seat real quick. We're just going to sit down. We ain't trying to fool around today. Man, we got a lot of talking to do, right? So what I want to do with this video is I want to give you guys my rebuild plan. As you guys know, for years, I've done NBA 2K rebuilds here on this channel. And yeah, I want to develop it in a way where I can kind of do it in like a podcast type of format where you guys can watch the video. Oh, yo, man, what's good to see highlights going, man? Yo, Chef Steph, look at Curry, man. So inspirational. Yeah, we want to see all this. There it is. Okay, man. But yeah, so that's kind of the point. It's just kind of like laid back. Let's talk about what the team could do this offseason, all that good stuff. So let's actually look at that Brooklyn Nets Boston Celtics series first. First, I got to say, congratulations to the Boston Celtics. I think even Brooklyn Net fans can recognize the sheer tenacity, defensive prowess that were the Celtics in this series. I have never in my life seen, such great defense, not only on Kevin Durant, but just the offensive juggernaut that is KD with Kyrie Irving. I mean, they locked him up, man. They locked him up, plain and simple. And while I do know in general, the Brooklyn Nets, due to being a little top heavy with their roster, I mean, yeah, they got some of the older players on the team and stuff like that. Guys like LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin that were once all-stars, but now are kind of like a shell of them for themselves. Like, I get like those guys are names on the roster, so I might not appear to be not a very deep team, but, it's pretty top heavy. And the offense that the Brooklyn Nets put together, I mean, I know guys like Joe Harris were missing, but it was still fantastic, man. And the Boston Celtics showed that defense wins games. Not to say that, not having Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown offensively doesn't help either, but still, man. So while I do give full credits to how the Celtics did play, I also think that this is an opportunity not to completely overreact in the offseason, because we do have to recognize that this was such a crazy year in general as far as any teams goes. And I think the Brooklyn Nets definitely got hit with the bulk of it. Have that be, Kyrie's situation with not getting vaccinated. Have that be the James Harden stuff going on. And then once Ben Simmons comes on the team, he didn't really play at all. So, I mean, and even on top of, the injuries to guys like Joe Harris. I mean, Joe Harris is a quality starter in the NBA. And he wasn't available. And also take out Ben Simmons now, too. And you can totally get it. And it's easy to look at Kyrie and KD and be like, wow, that should have been enough to get it done, at least for one game. Yes, they should have won at least one game. Let's call it like it is. But you can also recognize, too, where this team was not at complete full strength. And I think there's something to be said about that, right? So, I guess what we'll do first is, let me whip out the old cell phone. Oh, it's in my pocket, man. Oh, look at that. Magic. Not the Orlando Magic. And we are going to just kind of go through the roster and kind of see what's going on here, man. Player by player, who should stay, who should go, who could be a trade chip, all that good stuff, right, man? So I will say, like, salary-wise, a lot of money's owed towards Kevin Durant, rightfully so. Ben Simmons has a large contract. So Kyrie Irving is actually up for an extension this offseason. So he does have a player option, very well could decline it. I wouldn't blame him for doing that. Just getting a feel for the market out there, because who knows, man? Like, who knows what teams are going to offer him. But Kyrie did go on the record to say that he doesn't plan on going anywhere. I mean, Kyrie's also the same guy that told a child during an actual, school assembly that he was never going to leave the Cavaliers. So I don't listen too much to that. I just think about, the fit with Kyrie Irving on the Nets. Does that make sense for him going forward? I think it still does. I think Kyrie has a lot to prove. I think that the vaccination situation was uncomfortable for everybody when it comes to Kyrie Irving. And, I'm all for it, people having their own individual beliefs and stuff like that. But it was a distraction. It was unsystematic risk that we're not going to see next season. At least, well, I hope not, right, man? I hope like those days are over with that, right? But we'll see. So, yeah, Kyrie Irving, I think I mean, even if he accepts the player option and gives himself the flexibility after the season, I think some of that makes sense too. But I also see a guy just want to get paid, man. Like, you know, injuries can happen, right? So you got that. But You got Joe Harris. I think Joe Harris, they did miss him offensively, but I do think there's like a surplus of just like guys in the NBA that can shoot lights out. I mean, maybe not lights out, but like can knock down some open threes. Where I think Joe Harris is maybe somebody you look to trade to beef up other parts of the roster. And I think the part of the roster that needs to get beefed up the most, will probably be the center position, right? Depending how the Nets want to run their lineup next season. We're going to talk about all that too, man. Don't you all worry about that. But yeah, so we got that. You got Seth Curry. He's back next season. Patty Mills has a player option. I wouldn't be surprised if he declined because he really did, showcase he could be a quality starter, man. Like, he was brought to this team to back up Kyrie Irving, but was asked to be the main guy a lot of the times. And, it's not really ideal because obviously when Kyrie didn't play, they weren't as good as team, and that's not really Patty Mills' fault, but I do think he did himself a nice little payday, so, but it's a $6.1 million option. Patty Mills is 33. I think he declines and tries to get like a 2 to 3 year deal somewhere, either with the Nets or somewhere else. Beyond that, you got guys like Bruce Brown, who's on a contract here. I think you bring him back. I love Bruce Brown. I love what he does as far as just like he knows his role and he plays it well. Perfect guys have alongside guys with kind of bigger egos like Ben Simmons, like Kyrie, like Kevin Durant, which let's see how that all unfolds next season. LaMarcus Aldridge, I can see LaMarcus retiring again, if I'm being honest, man, or maybe he comes back on a very minimum deal, but not like a huge role. You got Blake Griffin. So this is kind of what I'm getting at with this, man. Okay, as far as like trade pieces, Cam Thomas, depending on what the Nets want to do, I could very well see like Nets fans being like, oh man, like please, we got to hang on to Cam Thomas. Like if this whole thing goes wrong, at least we got Cam Thomas to lean on. But if they want to go all into this Kyrie, KD, Ben Simmons big three, then you are going to have to give it pieces like that to bring in, guys that can work around those players, right, man? So you got Cam Thomas, you got Duron Sharp on the team. Nick Claxton is, despite not being able to knock on a damn free throw, like I still think there's some trade value right there. Or once again, a guy that can play a role with the team next season. But you got Drummond, you got Griffin, you got LaMarcus Aldridge. I don't think any of those guys should be part of the Nets rotation next season, man. I really firmly believe that. Just because, Blake Griffin, I respect the hustle. Okay, like when he does play, he draws charges and does things like that, man. But beyond that, he's not really skilled enough to be like a reliable power forward anymore. But he doesn't really have like that defensive prowess to like be a decent center either, man. Like yes, he can draw charges and everything like that, but beyond that, like Blake Griffin, I think is pretty useless, man. I really do think that. So I'm curious if he comes back to the Nets or goes somewhere else, or if he even gets signed, man. I don't know. Like Blake Griffin to me has had a huge fall off. I'm not just saying that as a salty Pistons fan. I'm seeing that as I saw Blake Griffin at his peak. He had his best season with the Pistons, and then I see him now, and it's just like, not the greatest, right? And then Andre Drummond. Yeah, he can grab some rebounds, but he's slow. He's clunky as hell, man. He don't have a motor to him. There's better fits out there. Especially when Ben Simmons is on the team next season, and then spacing does become into more question, too, with how you run the lineups out there, right? So, yeah, so who would I bring in if I was the GM of the Nets and, there were some trade pieces out there? Now, keep in mind, this is off the top of my head. I'm not really, I don't have, salaries formulated and everything like that, man. But off the top of my head, I would say they need a center. And the type of center they need is somebody that can provide a big body, 6'10", 6'11", can hopefully play some defense, but can also stretch the floor. Now, I'm not saying nobody needs to go out there and be like Davis Bertans or anything like that. I'm saying can respectfully knock down a three, can give you more spacing than what an Andre Drummond or Nicholas Claxton can do, or, Blake Griffin trying to shoot threes. So, I think the pretty basic one right here, you look at a Pacers team who probably is going in a full-on rebuild. I would definitely call about Miles Turner. I think Miles Turner fits perfectly, especially, when you have Kevin Durant or you have Ben Simmons that can rebound the basketball nicely. I will say Miles Turner's big weakness is rebounding. He's not great with that. But everything else, especially defensively, I think he's really good, man. So as far as that goes, you might be able to do something where, like I said, you have to... maybe Joe Harris for some for salary matching. Maybe you look at trading away Cam Thomas, maybe some draft picks, Nicholas Claxton, things like that. Because the Pacers are going to want young players, they're going to want assets, right? And even if you are a little hesitant about giving up Cam Thomas, while you're going for Miles Turner, I would also ask about Chris Duarte. Initially, the Pacers were... they had their core of Sabonis, Miles, Malcolm Brogdon, all those players like them, and TJ Warren. And the idea was to get a new coach, which they did with Rick Carlisle, and they were going to try to compete. So by doing that, they drafted Chris Duarte, who was an older rookie that was looking to contribute now. Chris Duarte's like 24, 25. Like, this dude's ready to hoop, right, man? So a type of guy that I think could help a team like the Nets right now. So maybe do something like that, give them Cam Thomas, and that gives them a few years right there to put him into the lineup with Tyrese Halliburton. And you got guys, man, like Vucevic, I think would be a good fit. Brook Lopez. Nice little veteran center, man. Even like PJ Washington, who I don't love at center, but I think definitely could work with the taller lineup, having Ben Simmons and KD out there. So I think that could work out nicely, man. But when it comes down to it, this Brooklyn Nets team, they have a lot of talent. Like, when you go into an offseason and your big three foundation is Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Ben Simmons, like, you just got to make the rest of everything else work. And I think just last year with COVID and everything, and just overall just being a weird past few seasons and off seasons and everything, I think the Brooklyn Nets thought that their top-heavy talent was going to get them by, but I think the Boston Celtics definitely proved that not only does defense win games, but also team basketball wins games, and you can't buy your way to the top, man. And yeah, so I really hope this Nets team, they bring some good pieces, but I think it's all going to be okay. And I think it's important to note, too, that yes, having to play the Celtics in the first round wasn't great for the Nets, because call like it is, if they were completely healthy, they would have been a top 3-4 seed in the Eastern Conference, no doubt in my mind. But also the same thing for the Celtics. Like, the Celtics had to deal with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in the first round, and they dealt with it. So I mean, you can't really use that too much as an excuse. But I just know the foundation of this team is pretty damn good, man. So yeah, that's all we got for this video. What do you guys think the Brooklyn Nets should do this offseason? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.